Ready to move on?
Yes,
All right,
let's move on.
All right, so this is ready to get help. This is the American Addiction Center, and we're going to talk about the symptoms and treatments of video game addiction.
So do a more of a deep dive
Yes.
into the symptoms.
Yes, so we're going to go into the symptoms. We're going to pass by a lot of this and go into the actual symptoms themselves. Where are they? Are they here? Just them?
You know, there's warning signs.
There's the warning signs. Let's start with the warning signs.
Yeah.
That's a good place to start.
Because we've been talking about this.
Right. So this is something that you, as a friend, a parent, a loved one, just anyone, you can look, and if you start seeing this, you may want to give the person a poke and see if they are having a problem. Poor performance at school, work, household responsibilities, a result of preoccupation with gaming. So basically, if you're not doing things and just gaming, like instead of going to school, instead of studying, instead of working on that project at home, instead of going, cleaning your room, cleaning the house, cleaning the bathroom, picking up after yourself, etc.
Okay.
If you have a bunch of laundry all over the floor, that kind of stuff.
I feel called out.
Yeah, you might be.
Stop that.
Here's a good one.
Okay, when you neglect other hobbies or friendships, you know, these things were important and valuable to you, and now all of a sudden they're not. It's more important to sit there in front of WoW than it is to pursue that lovely hobby you used to do or go out with your friends.
Hey honey, would you like to go out and get a bite to eat with me? Oh no, we have to finish this raid. Okay, I can wait a little while. Well, after this we have another raid and I got to work on my crafting. That might be a problem.
That might be a problem.
Here's one. Now, we all like to make jokes about the stinky gamer.
Right.
But a decline in personal hygiene or grooming is actually a warning sign.
That's real. That's an actual real warning sign.
Yeah, for a number of things, but especially for addictions. Inability to set limits on how much time is spent gaming.
Yep.
How many of you all watching this, whether it be live or VOD, feel called out right here? Inability to set time limits on how much time is spent on gaming. Yeah.
I get like that every once in a while.
Yeah.
I do. I get like that with my Sims 4.
It's okay. I get that way with Skyrim VR. By the way, guys, you can actually transpose this over to game development, so watch yourself.
Oh yeah, watch it.
But this alone is not a sign of addiction. It's just something to raise your head and go.
This is all just warning signs, okay? This next one was one I mentioned before.
Yes.
Signs of irritability, anxiety, or anger when forced to stop gaming. Because I've been seeing more and more stories about kids and teenagers getting so violently angry.
Oh yeah.
When a parent or guardian stops them from gaming or takes it away.
Even for a short period of time. Yeah.
And there was this one story of the boy shot his mom and killed her.
Yeah, that was at the beginning of this article.
Because she took away his Xbox.
Yeah, just shot and killed her.
Yeah.
This can go to adults as well. You could have, like, for example, if your spouse is spending a lot of money and you say, you need to stop spending money on this game, and the spouse says, I could just divorce you and then I can do whatever I want. That's a problem.
Yeah.
That's a problem. The need to spend more time playing games or to play more intensely in order to get the same level of enjoyment.
Oh, yeah.
Tolerance.
That's tolerance.
Tolerance.
Yep.
As you grow tolerance to the cycle of dopamine release, you're going to need more stimulation in order to get that same release. Porn addicts have that problem. Sex addicts have that problem, where they need more and more extreme stimulation or whatever they're watching or doing in order to get that same release.
Drug addiction is
Drug
the same
addiction.
way.
Yeah. Alcoholism. Takes more and more to get you that high. Tolerance is actually, I think, for me, one of the things that is a real big red flag.
I would think so.
Yeah. That with the irritability and anger, if you're asked to stop. Symptoms of physical or psychological withdrawal, the whole withdrawal symptoms.
The whole withdrawal thing, the
Yep.
sleeplessness, agitation, you're not hungry. The emotional outbursts if the game is taken away. Yeah.
Whenever I get done playing a game, especially if it's one I've been playing for several hours, I kind of get that relief of finally, especially if it's a VR game, I take the headset off and I'm like, oh my God, I can see the real world now, blah, blah, blah. So I get a sense of relief. So even though I do like to play for extended periods of time, I I would not say that I'm addicted, because I like stopping. I like going, okay, I need to get this thing off my head. I need to not touch it again for the rest of the day. And then last one right here. This is just a red flag for everything. If it becomes an escape and it's your one escape, your only real escape, if the only time you find happiness from your day is playing a video game, well, even if it's not an addiction, you might want to look at your life. You might want to look at your life, honey. I mean, everyone out there.
Well, I do admit that when I was jobless and
Right.
hopeless and depressed, that I did play a lot of games.
Yeah,
A lot of Sims 4.
a lot of Sims 4.
Yeah.
But I
But it
mean,
got better.
we
It got better.
you are absolutely not an addict to that stuff.
Oh.
Okay, so there's going to go over some beliefs here, and this article does talk about, the different types of popular beliefs, such as it promotes violence, it commits social isolation, and there's some truth
Blah,
to these.
blah, blah, blah.
Specifically the isolation issue, but that is cut into the list up here. So we're going to scroll down here to health risks and concerns, and then I think seeking help and treatment, right. So we've looked over the potential warning signs. Here's some symptoms. All right, so a sedentary lifestyle. That's obviously going to be the first one.
Teal turned into a note. She got better. Yeah, Burke. Yeah. 2020 was such a shitty year for a lot of people, and it hit a lot of us.
It did.
It did.
It did. And a lot of people probably did get a video game or other vice addiction.
Yeah.
You know? And it's not, and if you're listening to this, by the way, guys, and you're looking at this list and you're going, oh shit, the stuff that Studio Blue's talking about hits me, it's very personal. I think it's accurate. I might be addicted. There are places, and we'll get down to the bottom here, you can call, and you can get someone who's qualified to actually look and see if you have an addiction
Right.
or not. Addiction is not something to joke around with. It destroys lives. Oh, hey, Tron.
Hey, Tron, we're talking about addiction. Pull up a chair.
Well, to be fair, Trails of Cold Steel is a bingeable game. All right, so sedentary lifestyle is the first one.
Yeah, and we all know what that is. You just,
Right.
You're sitting on your bum in front of a computer or TV, and that's all you do.
If you were extremely active and you're suddenly becoming sedentary with poor posture, lack of physical exercise, that is something to look at as a potential symptom, as is this one, the lack of social engagement. Now, this comes with a caveat, everyone. We're not talking about the social engagement that comes within a game, like being part of a guild or part of a match team if you're playing like Overwatch or whatnot, or League of Legends like what Tron's playing right now. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about social interactions with people.
Yeah, emphasis on unhealthy. Yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So so the unhealthiness of a community that is if let me get back over here. I got a little sidetracked. If your social engagement is just the game group, just the people you're playing like League of Legends with, that is a symptom of addictiveness, of an addiction.
Yeah.
Problems concentrating and attention, unless it's that game. Like if the only time you can concentrate is when you're building your loadout for your next Call of Duty match, or you're getting ready with your next Fortnite skin, and that's the only time you can concentrate, is that is a symptom of addiction. Because all you can concentrate on is the stuff that's going to give you that dopamine rush.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Moogle Rampage is here. Welcome to the stream, Moogle. Suddenly adjust the posture to people looking at me. Well, yeah, slouching in your chair is never a good thing anyway. It's bad for your back. Avoidance of developmental tasks. So this is, they mention adolescents, but this can go all the way to adults. You want to tag this one?
This is also affects adults, okay?
Yeah, it does.
Because we throughout your life, you go through phases of discovery and personal development. It's not just during your teen years.
Right.
And if you're just avoiding all that and you're just playing video games all the time, you're not growing. You're not growing, you're not developing, you're not learning.
Yeah,
it's really important as you age that you stay engaged and stay learning, because I'm going to get off topic a little bit, but studies have shown that people who stop learning and growing and engaging their brain, they retrench and dementia is a really
Right.
real thing.
Right. Lack
you know,
of brain engagement.
Yeah. This is real.
Now, that's not to say that a video game can't engage your brain. There's a lot of games out there that force that, like a chess game, for example. When Teal and I are playing Beat Saber or Synth Riders, it's not just engaging the body, but you have to concentrate to hit those notes and those squares and everything properly. But that's not the only form of mental activity that Teal and I engage in.
No, not at all.
We engage in debate and conversation regularly. We read quite a bit.
Look, we're avid readers. Yeah.
I play Sudoku every morning. I play at least one, if not two rounds of Sudoku. Sudoku.
And I have a logic game called Sherlock.
Right. So, there's things we do outside of just playing a video game.
Yep.
To build that. So, you don't want to pass up those developmental stages.
No, you don't.
And adults have them too, like Teal said. Increased aggression.
Oh.
I'm not going into violence because violence is an extreme form of aggression, but increased aggression. So,
but that's real. That's documented.
Yep.
And it's not just guys either, but it's girls too. I mean, they always focus on the males showing their aggression.
Yep.
But females can too.
Yeah. And it's not just aggression towards, one second. It's not just aggression like in the game. Like I'm playing a violent game and I'm going to get aggressive. It's aggression towards a person who's trying to stop them from playing. It's okay to get annoyed if you're building your house in Sims 4 or you're about to go on your raid in World of Warcraft or whatever. And mommy wants you to take out the trash or wife wants you to go tuck the kids in or whatever. It's okay to get annoyed at that because you're right in the middle of doing something. No one likes to be interrupted. That is a normal human response. But getting aggressive about it, raising your voice, slamming your hand on the table, yelling, looking as if you're going to attempt to enact violence.
Yeah.
That is not normal.
And aggression outside of the game.
Yes.
Outside of gaming. Aggression in your everyday life.
Yep.
Here's an anecdote. My sister had to take away games from my nephew for quite a while because he got increasingly aggressive and angry, and it was affecting his relationships with his family and his friends. And it was actually his coach who did an intervention and said, no, you're not. You either, if you want to stay on this team, you stop with the game.
Yep.
And that nipped that shit in the bud. But I mean, it's true, and he was playing a lot of the Black Ops.
Right.
That Black Ops game.
That's Call of Duty.
Yeah, Call of Duty.
So then finally, now this is an extreme case, but seizures and repetitive stress injuries. Not everyone's going to get seizures or epilepsy playing a video game from the flashing lights or the blue light, etc. That's not everyone, but think of it like this. If the problems that you're experiencing start to become physical, like you start getting headaches when you're not playing, which is a withdrawal symptom.
Oh, yeah.
You start having eyesight issues. That's when you need to start looking at it. Stuff like that.
I never thought about the repetitive stress injury, but you're right. You're sitting there with the keyboard and mouse, and you're constantly doing the same movement.
Repetitive motion.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that too. So this is a symptom, but it's also this is a result of video game addiction. Is that repetitive? And so any type of physical injury. Okay, so
hey KV, welcome.
Hey KV, it's good to see you, my man. Good to see you. So they're talking about help and treatment. We can go into depth as to how different addictions are treated, but the first thing is to recognize there's a problem. As Teal said, most addicts aren't going to realize they have a problem.
Nope.
They're just not.
You're on the inside. You're not going to see it. Right.
They may realize they're starting to have a problem prior to the addiction setting in, when it's at those first stages. They're like, maybe I'm playing too much now, should be okay. But the time it's a full-blown addiction, they need someone to help them.
Yeah.
It is very rare. I'm sure it can happen because there's no such thing as an absolute in this world. But it is very rare for a person to realize they're addicted. Usually they require what's called an intervention, which is somebody to say you have a problem. And usually the response from an addict is anger.
Yep. Absolutely.
Being like, no, I don't have a problem. And then kind of getting a little introspective. I might have a problem. Do I have a problem? And they think about it. Okay, that may or may not be a sign of addiction. Who knows? You got to work a little bit with that.
Yeah.
But if the response to you have an addiction is, I do not have an addiction, fuck off, that kind of thing, where they get pissed.
Yeah.
That's a thing.
Yeah, that's a thing.
But that's the first step. They make that whole joke, AA, hello, my name is blank and I'm a blank. That's, people unfortunately have turned that into a pop culture joke. But the reality is, until you can stand up and say, I have this problem, you're not going to be able to heal. Then there's this. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBD. It's a behavioral modification is what it is. You have to actually, at this point, through a series of many exercises, step programs, etc., you have to start learning to change your behavior. And you sometimes require marriage counseling, family counseling, individual counseling, etc. And it can take years to overcome an addiction, like video game addiction or whatnot. And the problem with video game addiction is that it's so new, it's even harder to overcome it.
But that's why you have a whole cocktail of different therapies.
Yeah.
To engage in to try to get a handle on this.
And
it's not one size fits all either. There's different types of therapies. There's medication, because you could also be diagnosed with different disorders, bipolar and other things that go hand in hand with an addiction.
An anxiety disorder, for example.
Right.
The next thing you know, they're pumping you with lamotrigine to help mood stabilize you, so that you're not in a situation where you need to engage in that addictive behavior to cope.
Right. So there's it's several different. It's like a 3-pronged therapy.
Right. Some people actually need to be psychologically evaluated in a controlled environment. What we refer to as commitment. That's not really a thing anymore nowadays, being committed. That's something that, like, if you're a danger, then a judge will commit you for a period of months or years. But don't think like it's, you have an addiction and you're going to go get locked away for 3 years. That doesn't really happen like that. Usually what you do is you voluntarily put yourself in like a 2 or 3 month program or something like that.
Yeah.
And you're in an area where, literally you can quote unquote dry out from whatever's addicting you by having no exposure to it. You go through the withdrawal symptoms, you have the group talk therapy. Group talk therapy is a huge thing. Very important. And then slowly, bit by bit, you get better.
You regain yourself.
Right.
You regain your life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And then there's a last part, and I don't think it's mentioned here. I know they have outpatient treatment, inpatient treatment, but once you recover from that addiction, you need to never expose yourself to that addictive element again. And that is the hardest thing for addicts to do. For an alcoholic, you never drink again.
Yeah.
For a drug addict, you never use that drug again. Any drug really, but you never use that drug again. For a video game addict, you don't play video games like that ever again.
No, you don't.
And that's hard, because you're asking a person to cut something out of their lives. And I know people who would rather cut off their own tongue than do that. So let's go to someone who's addicted to games with microtransactions. They need to never play those games again. A Candy Crush addict needs to never play Candy Crush for the rest of their lives, because they will always slide back in.
That's right.
A person who's addicted to Call of Duty, truly addicted, they need to never play that Call of Duty again, because they'll slide right back in. And that is the hardest thing. We're not in a stage yet of advancement in psychiatrics where we can make that blanket statement like we would an alcoholic. But if there's anything that I can say I know with certainty, is that addiction is addiction. And as long as you're being exposed to that thing that can trigger an addiction, you're going to slide back into your addiction.
And that's the truth.